got this and a picture of that. I'm wearing this. Got that. Got that. Got that. This is down here, and this is right here. I think that's everything. And I've got my cat and my coffee. And I hope that the sun doesn't make the lighting weird. Actually, I'm allowed to adjust myself. You don't have to bitch at me. Hi. My name is Amanda, and I would usually say welcome to the Crafting Sparrow podcast, but I have decided that this is not a podcast because you guys watch me and listen, and that's always kind of bothered me that we called that podcast. So you know what? This is my channel. This is now the Crafting Sparrow Show and Tell because basically that's what this is. This is where I talk to you guys about all my crafting endeavors, what I've been up to for the month, and yeah, so it's not really a podcast. I don't know how we got on to calling it a podcast. Anyway, I've got some decaf coffee with me today on this really cute little mug I found on Amazon. And like I said, I've got my kitty here. My other one is currently over there playing with God knows what. Very distracting. Anyway, I hope you guys settle in, get something to work on, or something to snack on and drink, whatever. You know the drill. And let's go ahead and get started. Wow, she's really distracting me. Lucy, what are you doing? She's currently staring at the corner of the rug we have and attacking it. Anyway, like I said, let's get started. We have a lot of whips today. I mean, no, the opposite. We have a lot of finished objects today. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't even know I had so many projects going on. I have what is on my list 5 current finished objects. And some of them are a long time coming. Some of them are ones you haven't even seen on the channel yet. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and do the long-term one first. I finished my Dark Moon wrap, and this pattern is by. If you flip to the page, it's on in my notes. I have all my notes in this journal. Super cute journal I found on Amazon when I first started doing all this crafty stuff. Anyway. Immediately sidetracked. This is the Dark Moon wrap, and it is finished. Let me get it open for you guys. Ta-da! And it is by... Where's it at? Oh, Rachel Illsley. Found it on Ravelry. The pattern's on Ravelry. Oh, her Instagram tag is Unwind Knitwear. Yes, that's right. So you can find her on there on Instagram as well. But this is it. It's a really long shawl. I guess it's called a wrap. But, I mean, seriously, you guys, this thing is probably the longest shawl I have ever made. I would say it's almost 2 times my wingspan. Yeah, that seems accurate. And I think I left out 2 or 3 row repeats at the end because I was gonna run out of yarn. So yeah, very long shawl, and it's, I think what they call it, a crescent shape. You increase like basically every row, so it ends up with this like, see how the not the cast off edge, the edges of each row, it kind of goes in like that. It's very like wispy. Come here. You can come back up here. Come on. She does not like me moving around when she's on my lap. I've been trying to figure out how I wear this because it is a little bit different. It's almost like a scarf in a way, but it's also really cozy wrapped around like you would a shawl. But this is how I've been wearing it, like a scarf. I fold it in half so the mosaic is on both sides. And put it like this, and then wrap it around both times, and then I fluff out the front, and I got two really long pieces. Excuse me. Like that. It's super soft, so now that I have it on, I'll talk about the needle size and the yarn I used after a sip of coffee. So, the yarn I used, this purple color and the white beigey color, those are Good Wool from Purl Soho. And yeah, I don't remember colors of yarns that I buy. Sorry if you depend on. I guess I'm a bad YouTube show and teller, because half the time I don't remember the colors that I use. But it's a purple color and it's a white color. So yeah, Purl Soho Good Wool, I do know that. And the other one I used, this really pretty, like variegated purplish tone, was gifted yarn to me from a coworker. It was a fingering weight wool, silk, and mohair blend. I think that he may have bought it from like a fiber fair or something, because it didn't have the tag on it. Literally just told me like the content and the yardage. So yeah, that's all I can tell you about that. It's fingering weight, like I said. So is the Purl Soho Good Wool. And so the the needles I used was 2.5 millimeter, and the pattern calls for 3.25, so I went down per usual. I used my Chaigu interchangeables, the metal ones, and it was really fun to work on, just long term. Like I said, this has been on my well, I haven't told you, I just said it was on my nails for a long time, but it's I think it was like November when I cast it on, and I kind of put it to the side. Whoa, here. Okay. I kind of put it to the side for a while because I started working on Christmas gifts and other projects that I just felt like I really wanted to work on more, like cardigans and sweaters and stuff. So yeah, it was put aside for a while, but I finally finished it, and I was just really happy to take my time with it because it was such a long stitch count per row and such a small needle size. It was not something that I wanted to sit and work on monogamously for however long that would have taken. I don't feel like I would have enjoyed it as much as just picking it up when I wanted to and just working on it when I felt like it. It really made it an enjoyable knit, and the pattern was great. It was, like I said, it was mosaic knitting. This part is mosaic, and there's some like really pretty garter slip stitch transitions here, so you can see the colors popping in between. And the stitch here is sand stitch, or it, on the other hand, or on the other side, basically it's just what's that called? It's where it's a ribbing. It's like straight rows of knits and then interchanging between purls and knits. Broken rib? That sounds right. Yeah, I think it's the broken rib stitch, but on the other side it's the sand stitch. So, and it was really cool because where you would normally have to purl for every other row, you would just knit for this because it would be on the wrong side. Yeah, I think I said that wrong, but it's just really fun. I'm a mess. I don't know why I'm drinking this like it's gonna give me life. It's decaf, so I'm not gonna get a burst of caffeine and hopefully focus better. I can pretend that it's not decaf. I got off of caffeine a couple months ago and it has changed my life. So yeah, this is my Dark Moon wrap and I love it. Next finished object is, I guess I'll just go ahead and talk about what I'm wearing. Actually, that means you're gonna have to get up, I think. Sorry. But this is my field day jacket by Ozetta, and it has been the go-to thing to wear at home, at work. Basically, at any point in the day, I will grab this and put it on. I really, really love this jacket. It's kind of got a story to it. So let me show it first, and then I will talk about it. Actually, you're gonna have to... Yeah, you're gonna... Okay. Just sit there for a second. Okay. This is it. Can you tell it's been worn? This is the back. Lots of pilling, as you can see. I'm sporting my pajamas this morning. Sweatpants. Okay, and it's got a snap button in the center here to hold it together. So, I will talk about the yarn and the needles, of course, first, and then I will discuss the horror story / success story of this jacket. Okay, so the yarn is Patton's classic merino wool, I believe. Let me go to the page with it. Hold on. 107. Patton's classic wool merino, and it's the colorway bottle green. I did write that one down this time. So this is a worsted weight, 100% merino wool, as it suggests, non-superwash, and it was also gifted to me from that coworker. A lot of the stuff I use now is from that stash because it was so much yarn. And the needle size I used was 3.5 millimeter. I'm 100% sure that is smaller than the pattern recommends. I just didn't write it down this time. And I knit the size medium. I think that I did meet gauge almost. And yeah, I almost met gauge. I think I was a little bit bigger of a gauge than it suggested, but when I tried going down another needle size, I didn't like the way the fabric felt. So I just was like, you know what? I'll just not meet gauge like I usually do. So yeah, those are the logistics of it. And so honestly, I made 0 alterations to this. I knit it exactly as pattern because Ozetta is a fantastic pattern writer. Love her patterns. Where the tragedy strikes is when I blocked it. I knit a gauge swatch, but I didn't block it because I didn't think that I would need to. There's not really any cabling. It's just knitting back and forth. So I just didn't block it. I'll never learn. And when I went to block the whole garment, it grew substantially. Like the arms were out to like here and the body was almost down to my kneecaps. It was just kind of a nightmare, and I was really distraught because before I blocked it, it fit perfectly. It was like my dream cardigan, just a basic long cozy warm wool cardigan. And then I blocked it, and then it was a tragedy. So then I panicked, naturally, and I stuck it in the dryer. You're probably pulling your hair out right now, thinking, why would you do that? I watched it closely. I took it out every, couple minutes and was like, okay, is this felted? No, it's still a little bit damp. It was shrinking a little bit, which was good. And I left it in there just a smidge too long because it ever so slightly felted. And again, I was distraught for the time being. Because once it dried and I tried it on, honestly, it was the perfect size. Like it meets my arms right here. I can pull it a little bit over my hand if I want to. It's not falling off my shoulders. The length just covers my butt, which is what I wanted. And it fits nice and comfortably, wrapped around my body. So drying it worked. It fixed the problem, but it felted. But I got over it, honestly. I think that while I didn't want it to be felted because the definition of the stitches definitely is not really there anymore, it just looks like a fabric, it's extra worn now, and it's not so felted that it's stiff. It's still very soft for non-superwash wool. The only thing that is bad about it, and honestly, I need y'all's wisdom on this. It's felted, right? Does felting make things pill more? Because this thing hella pills. It pills a lot, and I don't know if it's the wool or if it's because it was felted. Regardless, I don't really care. It's a very down-to-earth cardigan. It's a very, like, hand-me-down looking garment, like it's been worn for centuries, even though it's basically brand new, and I'm kind of here for the vibe. I am embracing the pills. I pick them off when I see some, like, on the edge here, whatever. I don't even know what the back looks like because I don't see it, so I don't think about it. And yeah, I like it's the perfect amount of warmth. I'm not sweaty in it. It's just the magic of wool. You guys know, I'm sure. So, yes, and then the last tragedies, I tried to do the snap buttons all the way, like all 5 of them, I think the total was. I got the exact kind that Ozetta recommended on Amazon. It's these brass snap buttons. It comes with this part, and then the other part is on this side, and they just snap together, which is brilliant because the button band is made as you knit the panels. So you don't really have to worry about, okay, if I don't know the length of my cardigan, that's okay because the buttons are added afterwards without buttonholes. So if you didn't know the length of your cardigan, you wouldn't really know where to put your buttons because you would have to obviously spread out the buttonholes evenly. So it's really neat in that way that you don't have to worry about it because the snap buttons are just sewed on later. But when I went to sew them on, I could not for the life of me get it to where the cardigan would lay flat. It would like have puckering on it, like the buttons would pucker the fabric a little bit. I don't know what I was doing wrong, but I was really frustrated with it. Because at that point, I hadn't really accepted the fact that it was felted. So I was like, well, this cardigan's just an absolute loss because it's felted and I can't even get the buttons right. But yeah, I ended up accepting the felted part, and I decided that I was just going to put one button in the center. It's not something that I've worn before, like that single button. I don't think I've ever worn a cardigan with just one button in the center, but I love it. I love the way it looks when you just have it, just one button, and it just keeps it covering you, and you can still see, like, because it is supposed to be a v-neck cardigan, it still has the v-neck look, and yeah, I like it. And I had just a big button in my stash. I put that on first, and then I added the back part to it. Because I don't think that you could add the button after putting the snap part on. I don't think. But that's just how I did it. Yeah, and I like it a lot. I like the color. And yeah, that's my field day jacket. Highly recommend the pattern. Just maybe block your swatch, just in case it grows substantially like mine did. Probably solid advice regardless. That I'll never listen to. I'll never learn. So that's what I'm wearing in my second finished object. My third finished object was a gift for my mother-in-law. I finished her Koyamae pullover by Joanna Ang. It's my second one that I made. Love that pattern. And I made it out of, I'll put a picture here of her wearing it because she looks gorgeous in it. Perfect color for her, honestly. Yeah, so yeah, like I said, the Koyama pullover by Joanna Ang, and go to the pattern page 103. Page 103. Okay, the yarn was Debbie Bliss Cashmerino Aran weight. I used 5mm needles for basically all of it except for the collar. I used 3.75mm. I did a size 5 for her. And I don't actually remember if I added a repeat on the arms or not. I don't think I did. I think I follow the pattern to a T. Again, it's just a really great pattern, so just following it usually does the job pretty well. I'm pretty sure I met gauge like to the T with that yarn, which is always really nice because, well, it's nice when you meet gauge even though you're not following the correct yarn. I think that one is for a mohair held with sports weight or something like that, but that was just a aran weight yarn, so I'm not really, I like mohair, but it's not practical for where I live. I live in the southeast United States, and it's already going to be 80 degrees next week. So mohair is really luxurious and nice, but typically I have to substitute mohair patterns with just a like straight yarn without it. So it's nice to meet gauge even though you don't have exactly the yarn that they call for. But that's all I have to say about that one, because it's not here to show you. I'll just have a picture and you guys can take a look at it. Hence, show and tell. Anyway, my next one is something you guys haven't seen yet. And it's just a hat. It's the Simple Pleasures hat I found on Purl Soho's website. I didn't write down the actual designer's name. I don't know who it was, but if I find it, it's going to be down below on the screen. As I'm sure you guys have noticed already in this episode, I always put the designer's name and the pattern name below when I show you the projects. And also everything's going to be in the description box, a link to the pattern and the name of the yarn that I used for it. So anyway, this is the Simple Pleasures hat. It is, I knit this out of the leftover, fluff in the air, leftover Knitting for Olives mohair and their fingering weight merino. It was leftover from my vest number 8 that I made. If you weren't here before, I had made vest number 8 and with that yarn combination and had to completely rip it out and do a different size. And so I had a lot of this. When I ripped it out, I had a lot of extra yarn because I was making a size smaller. And I just had this hanked up, already held together mohair and merino yarn just in my stash. So I made a hat out of it. And I think I used basically all of the leftovers. I think, if not most of them. So it was a really good pattern to do that. I used a size 3.25 millimeter for the ribbing part and 3.5 millimeter for the stockinette part. And it's just, I think it's a free pattern. And I made the size kid small. I think my head isn't really that big, but mostly it's just because I knew my gauge was going to be way off, and I didn't feel like doing a gauge swatch. This is just scrap yarn on a free project. So I just picked a really small size and went with it, and it turned out great. It's all wrinkly because I didn't block it at all, and it's shoved. Its location that it sits is shoved in the passenger side car door, my husband and I's car, because it's literally just a hat to throw on if it's cold in the morning on our way to work. So that's where it sits, and it gets wrinkly, and that's it. It's just a really simple ribbed hat with a double brim, and the crown is cinched with thread at the end. There was like 12 stitches at the end you had to cinch together, I think, maybe more, but yeah, it has that cinched in crown, and it's great to keep my ears warm in a really cold morning. So that's that. I'm not really a beanie person, but I really like making them, but I don't like wearing them like regularly. So I don't usually make them because of that. I'm a very I like to think that I'm a practical knitter. Yeah, so it's a hat for once, and I like it. I like it, but I don't really wear it that much. It's just a car hat, emergency car hat. Okay, so that was actually all the finished object for knitting. This is a generalized crafting channel. So there is more than just knitting usually. I've really been into cross-stitching, not so much anything else, really just knitting and cross-stitching lately. And a while back, you guys may have seen I finished my long-term full coverage cross-stitch project of the ship. If you haven't, you are about to see it, because you guys, I finally framed it. This thing has been in the works for 5 years, and I finished it a couple months ago, and it just sat there finished, like shoved away, and I was like, you know what? I spent so much time on this thing, I need to frame it so I can look at it. So I went to Hobby Lobby. They had frames 50% off, and I found the perfect frame for it. And I went and got some fabric, because I decided that I want to actually, you know, some photos will have like the matte edging. I wanted that, but I didn't want to have the actual, like, usually like the cardstock feeling matte subject matter. I don't know what it's like a thick cardboard, but it's like a single color. You know what I'm talking about, I'm sure. Anyway, so I decided to sew on the matte edging with just plain cotton apparel fabric. And this is how it turned out. It's not perfect, you guys. It isn't perfect, but I love it. So, like, where's the glass on it, Amanda? Yeah, I definitely shattered the glass trying to put this thing in the frame. But it's okay. I just roll with the punches. I was like, actually, I like it better without the glass. And you know what? I'm not even lying to myself. So the glass usually has like glares when you're on the other side of the room, and without the glass you don't have that, and so you can enjoy it from all the way across the room. There's no glaring, it's just a fabric. And yeah, so basically what I did is I sewed on this cotton fabric. I think I sewed it on one cross stitch row in, so there wasn't any like white from the canvas or the Aida cloth showing. Yeah, and I didn't think it was gonna be a problem because it's mostly just sky and ocean all around it, so I'm not missing much. I'm not like cutting into the ship or anything. So and yeah, it's wonky. It's definitely like not flat on the frame. It has some wobbliness to it. You can't really tell. You can't really tell even when it's up on the wall. So I'm all about the imperfections. I am in no way a perfectionist, if you haven't noticed already. So yeah, and I just think it adds character to it. Like this was something that I found the photo that I really liked on Google, and I put it into Pick to Pat, and I will have a link down to what I'm talking about below. It's basically just a free browser program where you throw in an image and it spits out a PDF cross-stitch pattern with your choice of, you can use DMC color codes or the other really famous one. I don't know what it's called, but it spits out a pattern for you for free with the color codes for the floss you need and how much you need for it. I think maybe it doesn't give you that, but yeah, so it's just really neat, and I just went for it. I actually started this the year that my husband and I got married, so it's just a really sentimental piece for me. A lot of things happened over those 5 years, and it's a good piece to remember all those years for. And it's finally framed up on the wall, and it makes me really happy. Something that's really cool, actually, is when it's up on the wall, this thing is not, like, it's not something I feel like you typically see in, like, a modern, like, nowadays household. It really gives me, like, old mansion tapestry decoration vibes. Like, if you went to a historic house, like a mansion of some sort, you know, they have those really big tapestries on the walls. This is what that reminds me of, and I like it a lot. So, she's completely done! She's framed! Yay! I'm happy. Okay, so that's all my finished objects, and now we'll get into whips, which there's only a couple. There's not, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, my knitting mojo has been way down. As I mentioned before, it's gonna be in the 80s next week. It's been in the 70s, and Oh, I'm not ready for the heat, and my knitting has taken a punch from it. Just don't feel like knitting on big sweaters made from wool at this point. It's only gonna get warmer, you guys. That being said, I will show you my first work in progress. That is a bulky weight, yes, bulky weight sweater with color work. Perfect for 80-degree weather. I'm gonna be honest with you, I probably am gonna put this aside till next winter, because this boy is huge. It is the Sharp Chevron Pullover by Svetlana Avrakh. I may have pronounced that wrong, but actually I feel like I kind of nailed it. And it is made with Lamb's Pride Bulky, which is a single ply, bulky weight, 100% wool. Actually, I think it has mohair content in it, like a small amount. Here it is. Oh, there's yarn in here. Okay. It's a free pattern. I think I found it on Yarnspirations, I believe. It'll be in the description box where I found it. And it's a top-down colorwork yoke. So I had just split for the sleeves, and I was working on the body a little bit, but bulky weight is really hard on my hands. I'm using a... Okay, so I used quite a few different needle sizes for this. For the ribbing here, I used 4mm. Come here. Come on. I used 4mm needles for the ribbing, and then for just the black stockinette, I used 4.5mm. And then when I got into the color work, I used 5.5mm. So yeah, a lot of different needle sizes. And then I went back to 4.5 when I was done with the color work. What are you doing? I made the size medium/large, and something really cool about this project is I actually learned a new technique, which is always exciting. I learned the ladder back jacquard technique for catching floats when doing color work, because this one had a couple of situations where it was like 11 stitches, and because it's so bulky and I would have to consistently pick up those stitches on previous, the way that it's chevron, you would have 5 stitches in a row, and then the next one you would have 7, and then 9, and then 11, and you would ideally want to pick up those stitches at the same middle point. And with regular colorwork float catching, that has the tendency to show on the front, like where you consistently caught floats in the same part of the row. So I learned ladder back jacquard, which is super easy, and I didn't do it everywhere, but like I said, just on those sections where there were consistently getting wider rows or stitch counts for a specific color, I did it there. I usually did, I think the most I did was like 3 consecutive rows of ladder back jacquard, and then I wouldn't need to anymore, so I would finish that off and then just keep going until I needed to do it again. Yeah, my explanations are just perfect today. I dropped stitches, of course. Okay. I think I'm actually gonna try this on for you guys. Just because, oh god, I'm hitting things. Just because it's kind of an interesting, I'm not usually a bulky sweater person, so let me put some stoppers on these needles. Okay, I just connected the cord together with a interchangeable cord connector. I don't know what else to call it. Okay. This thing is so warm, like instantly I am warm in this thing, because it's double layered basically for that part, and it's bulky weight. Oh gosh, oh no, I got fiber in my eyeball. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah, so it's super thick right here, and I really like the way that the collar fits. It's just the right, oh man. Oh, okay. My eye's watering now. This is a mess, y'all. Okay. Anyway, it's just the right fit. Oh my god. Where is this thing? I got it. Okay. Anyway, I like the way that this collar fits a lot. There's not any short row shaping here. There's going to be short row shaping at the bottom hem part. So right now it fits really well. Obviously the back is higher than the front right now because there's no short row shaping, but that will be fixed later down on the body. So yeah, I like this a lot. But like I said, it's going to be way too warm to even wear it when it's done. Nevertheless, I don't really want to work on it when it's already 80 degrees outside, so you definitely will not see this thing finished until next year. So take a look at it. This is what you're gonna get for a while. That is the sharp chevron pullover. Okay, take this puppy off. Okay, that one is that. And the other works in progress are, as far as knitting goes, I have my Scrappy Sweater that I've been talking about for a while. Let me put this back in my bag. Get my other bag out for this project. And put my cardigan back on. Okay, so my Scrappy Sweater project that I've been working on. If you're new here, then I will briefly just say I wanted to make a Scrappy Sweater with my aran / worsted weight, just scraps that I have from over the years, and I wanted to do like a patchwork look, have it look like there's really not that much thought into it, and that's exactly what it is. I've just been kind of winging it, and I like how it's turning out so far. Let me show you. I have all the panels done for the front piece, and I have blocked them all. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of just 5 squares. I have them in a specific order, so I'm trying not to mess that up, because right now I'm seaming this together, and I laid them all out and decided which stripes would look better like next to each other, but I guess I can lay them down and show you one by one. Just got this one. Got a pop of purple in this one. Some more. And then actually this is the top piece where I did some neck shaping. You can see this scoops in a little bit. And yeah, so that's what I've got done so far, and then I also seamed together 2 panels. This is going to be the bottom of the sweater, and I'm seaming it up to the neck. I really wanted to emphasize the seaming parts, like these bumps here. Now I have hair in my mouth. Y'all, what is going on? Yeah, I really wanted to emphasize the seaming part because I think that looks extra scrappy. And on the back side, there's not as much it feels almost seamless on the back, so there's not any like raises to brush against your skin as you wear it. And so I plan on talking about this in depth once I finish it. Like, I may just make a whole video for it because it's basically its own pattern. And yeah, so I'll just tell you guys like what each square is. Basically, with 5mm needles, I think. 4.5mm, just like DPN needles. I cast on 20 stitches, just your basic long tail cast on. Knit 24 rows, and on the edges, on the right side, I slip knitwise on the first and last stitch, and then on the wrong side, I just purl all of the stitches. I do that for 24 rows, and then I just regular cast off, and to connect them, what I'm doing is, because I did that slip stitch detail on the edges, there are 12 like stitches to work into, and basically what I do is I take the square that I just finished and the new square, or I take a square I already finished and the new square I just finished, and I hold them together wrong sides facing, and I slip stitch crochet the squares together, and that's what causes this detail here where you can kind of see both colors on either side of the squares. It works out really well when you have some high contrast colors next to each other, and so yeah, that creates just the strips, and then I am mattress stitching the pieces together, so that like I said, you can see the bump on the front side of the sweater. It's very raised up right there. So that's what I've been doing. It's really easy to mattress stitch this fabric together because you're basically just looking for the bumps on the wrong side. And Ashley, quit scratching the carpet. Just take a sip of coffee. Yeah, it's pretty easy to just mattress stitch the pieces together. Yeah, lots of seaming obviously, but I'm kind of okay with that at this moment because I've really been into like hand sewing kind of stuff, like cross stitch and everything, so it's kind of the perfect thing for me right now. Yeah, that's my scrappy sweater. I've started on the back panel, as well as, like I said, I'm seaming the front panel right now. So, scrappy sweater. Oh, and when I crochet them together, I only find it in my bag. I'm using a 5mm crochet hook. So 0.5mm bigger than my knitting needles, and I think that helps it preventing from, or I think it helps prevent the pieces that are crocheted together just like have a really tight feeling to them, because crochet slip stitch is notoriously pretty tight. So that helps. It's also just one of my favorite go-to crochet hooks, so something really nice to see when I'm working on this is the bag. That's a bag I made a while back. I took out all the yarn from my scrappy basket and all the aran weight kind of weights of scrappy yarn that I had in there, and I just put them in this bag. And when I first grabbed all of it, this bag was like smack full, like you couldn't fit anything else in there. And now there's like a bunch of room in there. And I know that's like, duh, you're using the yarn, but it's just really nice to see, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. I think that's it for that one. Let me put this stuff to the side. Okay, what else is there? Got that. Oh, update for the Bruins Scarf that I'm making. This is for a friend who's a really big fan of the Boston Bruins hockey team. I'm knitting him a scarf, a ribbed scarf. He doesn't know about it, and I don't think he watches this, so we're good. Every time they win, they get a gold stripe. Every time they lose, they get a black stripe. And they are ranked #1 in the National Hockey League right now, so fingers crossed that they win that Stanley Cup. But I don't know. It's just really cool. They had a losing streak right here, and it was actually kind of funny because, well, it was sad, but it was also funny because 2 of these were Florida teams, and I grew up in Florida, so I don't know if that has anything, like any connection whatsoever other than a coincidence, but yeah. Before that, they were only losing 1 game at a time, and then they had that losing streak. But it adds some characteristic to the scarf. It's getting so long. Like, my friend thought that it was a Hufflepuff scarf. Okay, so that's just a catch up on that. I'm almost done. I'm almost out of the gold color, but thankfully I thought ahead when I bought this and got 2 skeins of each color, so I won't have to worry about color lots being different. That's that, and that is it for knitting, but I also have some cross-stitch project update for you. I have been working on a cross-stitch pattern from this book, Cross-Stitch for the Earth. There's 20 Designs to Cherish by Emma Congdon. I bought this book on Amazon a while back when I knew I was going to finish the ship project. I wanted some cute, smaller projects to work on afterwards. So I've been working on this for a while, and I got done with the cross-stitching parts, like the basic cross-stitching, and I'm working on the back stitches right now. I know it's wrinkly. I probably should have ironed it out before I showed you guys, but I don't think ahead, so. So you can kind of tell where I have done back stitching. The dark fabric makes it a little bit hard to see the back stitching on the letter, or on the word little, but you can tell that these bugs over here have legs, and these over here, well, okay, this is good. These bugs right here do not. So basically what I have left is some of the bugs up here and the moth here. I think that's it. The robin has some feet that sit on the word enjoy. And yeah, so I'm almost done with it. And I'm really excited. I took a before picture of before backstitching. It's all ironed out and stuff, so it's nice and flat. And I'm excited to take an after picture with backstitching because I've never done a project with backstitching before, and it's always really satisfying to see that before and after photo that I've seen on the internet. So I'm excited to finally have my own backstitching before and after photo. And I think I'm probably going to I don't know what I'm going to do for that, framing that. I don't know if I'm going to do a just like a really pretty hoop and just hang it up on the wall. The hoops that I have, I've been using these hoops. They're on Amazon. It's fake. That's not real wood here. It looks like wood, but it's fake. But it's really like bendy, and they have this stiff plastic part. And the clasps are really pretty to hang up on a wall, but it's just too small, and I don't think the other ones that I have are a good size for it either. So maybe I'll look for a pretty one that'll actually fit it, or I will just buy like a cheap frame and just frame it in a square frame or something. I don't know. I hadn't thought that far ahead, but yeah. So that's all of my works in progress, and I don't really have that much of, I don't have any acquisitions. I will soon though. I bought another single skein from Kelsey from Knitting to Cobby. She has this year she's doing, instead of mythical creatures on her mystery yarn club, she's doing I don't know if it's mystical places or fictional places. I can't remember, but for January it was the Shire from the Lord of the Rings Tolkien universe, so of course I had to buy it. Of course. And that's coming in tomorrow. So I'm pretty excited. But right now I don't have any acquisitions to show you guys. So as far as future plans go though, I think that I might make some mohair house slippers. So if you have any recommendations, throw them down in the comments, because I have the itch to make house socks. I've been wearing my Ovis socks a lot recently because it's been cold in the house. And they are mohair, as you can probably tell. But I want more. Not color work though, because I'm never doing color work socks again. If you want to know what I'm talking about, go back to when I was talking about those Ovis socks. I don't remember which video it is, but anyway. I think I just spilled coffee. Yeah, I think I want to make some Mohair house socks, because I have some. I think the two Mohair that I have are Knitting for Olive and Drops Kids Silk. I think those are the two bases I have. And plenty of yarn to select for like the base of it. So let me know if you have any like basic cute textured Mohair house slipper patterns you want to recommend. I'll definitely be taking considerations for that. And other than that, I might just make some scarves or shawls or something just to have on the needles. I feel like I want to make a sweater, but I also feel like I don't want to go and find a sweater pattern. Does that make sense? I don't know. Like, I see sweater patterns on Instagram, I'm like, that's so cute. But then I never make the leap to, I want to make that. I want to go find what yarn I have in my stash and make it. Because I'm not really trying to buy sweater quantities of yarn right now. I have some sweater quantities of yarn in my stash already. I could use. Anyway, so that's kind of my future plans. A lot of my creative space mental creative space has been taken up actually by writing. So you may have heard here before that I play D&D, and I've really actually basically only played one campaign this whole time for like almost 2 years now, a year and a half or so. And my character's name is Sildub. She's a water genasi, and I've really been enjoying writing just short stories of her like before the campaign, and it's just been fun. But I can't knit or cross stitch or anything while I'm writing, so it's just been kind of put on the back burner, and I'm just gonna go with the flow here. I'm not gonna try and force myself to do something that I don't want to do. So that's why I don't really have many works in progress. That's why I don't really have any concrete future plans. So yeah. I've also been playing Minecraft with friends again, which has been really fun, and just other things in my life. So yeah. Last thing, I decided to start a segment last podcast. I guess it was a podcast back then. I mentioned starting something this year where I kind of mentioned some accounts that I've ran into either on Instagram or YouTube or both that have brought me joy or inspiration, and I've decided to name it Noteworthy Accounts. So this is the Noteworthy Accounts section of my my video. This time I have a embroidery Instagram account to show you. Obviously I've been into embroidery stuff a lot lately, and this one is called Magnus and Quill, and she has some really cute like naturey cute birds and flowers and stuff that caught my eye on Instagram, and so yeah, go check her out if you're into that kind of stuff and give her some love. And then also the other one I found, it's a knitting account called Cool Stitches, and she actually also has, I found, a YouTube where she does knitting vlogs. I haven't checked that out yet, but I definitely will be. It's also Cool Stitches on YouTube, and what caught my eye is she's been working on this cardigan that has lemons on it. I think it's so stinking adorable. So that's kind of been bringing me joy. And yeah, go check her out as well if you want. And please let me know if you guys have any Instagram or YouTube accounts that have really brought you joy or inspired you. And leave a comment down below. And I would just, that's one of my favorite things about this little section here, is that it encourages others to discover other designers, and I just want to know what you guys have been inspired from or found joy in. Yeah. So yeah, that's it, and I just want to say thank you for continuing to listen to me in this channel, and just being here to watch my journey through crafting endeavors. yeah, I mean, this is just kind of a hobby for me. Lucy is chasing something again over there. This has just been kind of like a side project hobby. I have a full-time job, and it's just nice to just share with other people who are also interested in these kinds of things and have a little community here. So if you want to stick around, maybe give me a subscribe and like the video. It helps out with the algorithm. You know the drill. But yeah, just have a wonderful next month until I see you again, and yeah, take care. I'll see y'all. Bye.